find your purpose, life reveals it to you. So a lot of times it's a matter of going back to your life experiences, looking over, your gifts and talents and your abilities. And, there are just so many things that, you can go through that will help take you or guide you to your purpose.
Hi, and welcome to Beyond Empty Nest. I'm your host, Jody Silverman, speaker, mentor, and Chief Dare Officer at Moms Who Dare. Every Thursday, I'll share stories of midlife transformation, happiness tips, and dare you to see the opportunities waiting for you so that you can make this next chapter even better than the last. If you're ready to dare, I'm ready to dare with you. Let's get into today's episode. What's my purpose if not a full-time mom? Who am I if I'm not a corporate executive anymore? Why do I feel so lost and unfulfilled? These are just a few of the questions that I am asked every day inside the Moms Who Dare Facebook group, along with what the real question is. Jody, how do I even begin to reinvent myself during this midlife chapter? Well, I got an answer for you today. I invited somebody to bring you the answer. We have invited the perfect coach to share the 3 things every woman needs for a midlife reinvention. Deborah Thomas is a certified midlife empowerment coach and mentor, working with women from all walks of life and all parts of the world. As a former corporate marketing and advertising exec turned stay-at-home mom of 9, yes, 9 children, a mom-in-law and grandma, Deborah knows what it's like to reach a point in life when you ask, now what? Who am I? What do I really want? Am I too old? Is it too late? Deborah is passionate about sharing the steps she learned and took to transform herself and her life. Through her 12-month signature program and private Facebook group, she has set out to shorten the learning curve for other women to embrace midlife reinvention, empowered, confident, and excited for the future. Because the best really is yet to come. Deborah, welcome.
Oh, thank you, Jody. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Well, and these are the questions that the women, they're not really questions. They're the challenges that I reframed the questions that most women tell me that they're experiencing during this chapter, whether empty nest, midlife, whatever's coming, because emptiness is part of midlife. And when I was thinking about who I could bring on to really answer this, because I know they're tired of hearing my voice all the time, I thought about you, Deborah, because for those of you who don't know, fun fact, Deborah and I have collaborated before in the past, a couple of years ago, and I just knew I wanted her back. So, I'm thrilled you said yes, and I cannot wait to dive into, the 3 things every woman needs for midlife reinvention. However, before we do, share a little bit of your story, that what happened to you that led you to do this work and discover these 3 things.
Yes, I would love to. I'm honored to be here and I'm so grateful that I get to share my story. But yeah, a little bit of a background. These 3 steps that I'm sharing are just a small part of what's in my signature program. But they were steps that, along with other steps that I came to through my own experience. They aren't necessarily steps from a book that I read or from a course, kind of a combination of everything. Yes, I read a lot of books. Yes, I did a lot of courses. Yes, I, went through a lot of experiences. But for me, what had happened was I was approaching 50. I was still dealing with daughter passing away years before and hadn't really completely gotten over that. And I had gone to therapy and, had gone through grieving. Part of my own personal do-it-yourself therapy, I guess you could call it, was what's fondly called retail therapy. And so, I was spending a lot of money, shopping a lot. Anyway, one thing or another, 2008 came along, 2009, the economic downturn, which for my husband and I was devastating. And needless to say, my do-it-yourself retail therapy came to a halt.
Oh,
I had to go into a do-it-yourself addiction rehab, basically.
Ah,
and, figure out what was going on. But one of the things that I did is I started seeing a therapist again. This was a new therapist I had never worked with. And in that initial session, we went through the assessment, the questions, everything that you go through. And then she asked me, Deborah, who are you? And I said, well, I'm, you know, Rollins' mom. I'm the mother of my children. And she, with each answer that I gave, she kept saying, no, Deborah, who are you? And I paused for a moment. Well, and then I started going like into my former career titles and things that I had done. And with each answer, no, Deborah, who are you? And it got to the point that I realized I couldn't answer her. I didn't
mm,
have an answer. And I really didn't know who I was outside of my roles, outside of my career titles, outside of responsibilities that I had had. And, needless to say that that session ended in tears.
yeah, we've been there. We've all been there.
Yeah, yeah. But it also led me to some deep thinking and realization that I needed to find who I was. I needed to learn who I was at this stage of life. I was moving into the space where my children were growing. My eldest had already gone on to college, and the other ones were getting ready to. And I realized, no, I need to do something. So I went into what turned out to be a 10-year personal development journey, did a lot of soul searching, did a lot of, again, reading courses and such. And then I discovered life coaching and hired my first coach. And I learned some amazing things, not only about myself, but how my brain worked, about my emotions, about all sorts of things. And that changed my life. And then as I moved forward, I started realizing that each of the steps that I had gone through, things that I learned or whatever, were basically a system that I could teach someone, that I could repeat and teach someone to do. And I realized that I had a responsibility to do that because no woman should go through 10 years of searching, right, to try to find herself and understand who she is.
Yeah.
And if I could shorten the learning curves, I wanted to do that. It was a burning desire in my heart. And so, anyway, long story short, I ended up getting certified as a life coach, pursuing other trainings and education and all sorts of things. And 5 years ago, I started my business, Deborah Thomas Coaching. And since then, I've been working with women all over the world and have enjoyed it thoroughly. But I've also, realized that my love is for the women in that stage of life, whether you're,
Yes.
45, 50, 60, what have you, this midlife stage, we goes through a lot.
Yes, it is a lot,
We-
just a heavy sigh.
yeah, yeah. And
And
so these three steps, these three keys that I came up with and I wanted to share with you today, I felt are the most important ones to help get me started because, we do need to reinvent ourselves. We
and we
just
get to do that, right? It's a gift to ourselves. It's, as moms, I always say this. First of all, Deborah, our stories, we have so much synergy, so much. It's like a parallel story. Because I also had a 10-year personal growth journey, and I still do. I mean, it never ends. And it was a good 10 years to release doubt, limit, understand what was going on in my head, and who did I want to be? Who was I, and who did I get to be? But we get to enjoy, we get to enjoy this phase of life. And those who follow me in the Moms Who Dare Facebook group and on the podcast, and whenever I speak, they know they've heard me say this, that we as moms have raised our kids to go out, brave new experiences, learn, grow, and meet new people. We get to do that too. That's and midlife does have challenges and has a ton of hurdles and obstacles. And yet there's so much possibility and opportunity, which you and I have been able to discover. And I love how you said that it was your responsibility that you could to teach other women. And I know you do it so well. So thank you. I agree wholeheartedly. And all right, everybody get pen and paper. And don't worry, the show notes will be every which way you can reach out to Deborah for more support because we don't get through this life alone. We need support. So Deborah, 3 things a woman needs for midlife intervention, intervention, midlife reinvention.
Reinvention.
And with midlife reinvention comes discovering the answer to who we are,
Yes.
right? And our purpose and fulfillment. Because it's in
Yes.
there. We know it.
Yes. It's a time to remember it, really.
Yes.
Because for many of us, we've kind of suppressed, not sup well, some of us have suppressed it or, put it on the sidelines, and it's time to bring that forward. And, reinvention isn't about discarding the past or who you've
No.
been or what you've done. It's about bringing that all together, all of those, the value and the experiences and the wisdom that we've gained over the years, and bringing that together with the new to be
Yes.
able to move forward and create a new version of ourselves and a new version of our lives.
Right.
So yeah, so those three steps or three keys to the midlife reinvention. The first one that I share is identity. So that is about discovering who you are now. Now we use the term rediscovering a lot, which is wonderful, but this is about discovering the new as well. And developing a loving and compassionate relationship with yourself forward because going through this process of midlife and the process of reinvention is not necessarily easy. And there are some challenges along the way. So you need to have that self compassion and that grace and understanding for yourself as you move forward. Just as, we gave it to our children as they were growing and learning and developing. It's our turn to do that for ourselves as well.
Yeah.
And what I'd like to share is, as you do this, you need to give yourself some quality time with yourself. So whether that means, journaling, meditating, taking walks, going hiking, what have you, but some solitude, quality time for yourself where you can really go deep within. And again, rediscover and discover who you are now. And I could go on and on about it.
Well, we're just, listen, and I'll say it again. This is like a 30-minute or less podcast. So we're
Yeah.
giving you the beginning steps. And so start at the beginning. And if you want to dive deeper, reach out. Absolutely. But yes, but you need to start somewhere. So let's
Yeah.
give them that beginning bite size. So identity is about discovering who you are now and developing a loving, compassionate relationship with yourself. We are so hard on ourselves. And in order to do that, it does require you to spend time alone with yourself. Okay.
Definitely, definitely. And some
Perfect.
action and being curious and exploring. And, again, I could go on and on with that. And
No, I love that.
the second key is to discover your purpose. I like to say that you hear a lot of people using the term find your purpose. I teach in my program so that you don't find your purpose, life reveals it to you. So a lot of times it's a matter of going back to your life experiences, looking over, your gifts and talents and your abilities. And, there are just so many things that, you can go through that will help take you or guide you to your purpose. Find your purpose, life reveals it to you. So a lot of times it's a matter of going back to your life experiences, looking over, your gifts and talents and your abilities. And, there are just so many things that, you can go through that will help take you or guide you to your purpose. A lot of people believe in just creating their purpose and what they want to do. And that's great. But I see that more as action steps, fulfilling roles or what have you. But I teach that purpose is an innate part of you. It's part of who you are. It's part of who you all have always been, but you've never really connected to it before because you were so focused on helping your family, your children, move forward with their purpose and their dreams and their life. And so anyways, again, as I always say that you don't find your purpose, life reveals it to you. So it's
Love that.
the steps and how to do that. So coming up, and I'll mention it now,
Yeah.
but I have a online program called Ready for More. It's a purpose discovery and reinvention course for midlife women, specifically for midlife women. And
Mm.
it takes you through the 10 questions to ask yourself to be able to discover that purpose, ignite your potential, and to transform yourself and your life because you're able to move forward with more meaning and significance in your life. And those 10 steps, it's not just questions that you're doing, you're just answering the questions. They also come with tools and exercises and things to learn how to apply it. What does it mean? And then how do we combine all of these answers and things together to understand what your purpose is? And by the end of the program, you write a purpose statement
I love that.
able to have, and it gives you direction and clarity for your life
Yes.
from this point forward. Because, heaven knows at this point, we want it, we crave it.
That's beautiful. I love that because we are only one question away from clarity. I love that quote.
Yes.
Only one question away from clarity. All right. So purpose is about discovering your purpose to live a life of meaning, significance, and fulfillment. And you have to discover yourself first, right?
Yes,
And then
exactly.
moving on to purpose. And it is about getting curious and asking questions. So I love how your program is grounded in questions.
Yes.
That I love that. All right. So
Yeah.
identity, discovering who you are now, purpose, discovering your purpose to live a life of meaning, significance, and fulfillment. And the third thing,
The third thing is vision for your future. This is something that many midlife women, I mean, you work with them, I've worked with them, being able to dream for ourselves becomes uncomfortable. We feel it might be selfish or irrelevant, right? Because we've been doing it for years, decades for our family. But at this time of life, it's so important to have a vision for your future because we still have a lot of life left to live. We still have
no,
ahead of us. And if you don't have a vision of where you're going and what you want to achieve and do and how you're going to live your purpose and move forward in your new rediscovered identity, that future looks blank. You need to have that to, give yourself a roadmap to follow and understand how you're moving forward. It gives you that clarity. It gives you an internal picture for that future version of you and the life that you want and will live, and then the intentional steps to live it, to take.
right. The action step, because a dream, a dream is a dream. And then until you put action steps toward to make it a reality and manifest it, that number three dream is it's 100% what I taught. I host a vision board workshop every year because
Yeah.
you hit on it. Like we dream, we have these dreams for our children. We dream big for our children, right? We even dream big for our partners. We
Mhm.
dream big for everybody. We forget dreaming. I mean, think about when we were kids. How much daydreaming did you do as a kid? We forget to dream for ourselves. And I love that that is the third, one of the three steps in moving towards your reinvention is the dreaming.
It's so important. And it's so dreaming and having a vision is so powerful. In my 12-month program, Create Your Extraordinary program, I teach when it comes to vision, I teach about disembodiment vision and embodiment vision. There are two different ways of being able to look at your future to be able to activate it and achieve that. And
Love it.
anyway, it's in my program. It's something, again, that's very powerful because
Yeah.
we have a lot that we're able to do with our minds and then we can achieve anything.
And you know what? All three steps sound simple, but they're not easy. Simplicity doesn't equate to ease. It takes work. It takes commitment to be with yourself, to ask yourself questions. And
Yeah.
here's the thing I wonder, I love this because I never knew that. Like I always thought if you asked a question, you had to have an answer. You don't have to have an answer right away. Because that's
Mhm.
what happened. That's what led me to my whole oh my God moment. My breakthrough moment was I asked myself a simple question, but I didn't know the answer to it. I answered
Mhm.
the question, but I didn't know what was happening afterwards. Now,
Right.
people heard me say, like, my question was, okay, so the kids are leaving home and all I have left is this business that I had had at the time. Is that enough? And I'm like, no. Those of you not watching YouTube, I just made a face. Like, no, what I had, it wasn't fulfilling enough. And
Yeah.
I answered the question. Honestly, I didn't know what was next.
Right. Right.
But asking questions opens up
Yeah.
your mind it
Yes.
gets your mind moving and thinking and and it also kind of gets out of here and starts to drop you in your heart with the right questions, right?
Right.
You ask the right
Right.
questions. I love that. So identity, purpose, and vision. What were you going to say, Deborah? I think you were going
Oh,
to say,
I was just going to say, going along with what you were talking about, what you described, you had your business, but you knew that there was more.
yes.
There was something more. And in that Ready for More program that I mentioned, I have an acronym for the word more, and it's maximizing opportunities for reinvention empowerment. And more is something that dwells within every midlife woman's heart when she knows that she needs to maximize there are opportunities out there. There's so much potential. There is so much for her that she hasn't tapped into yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, pretty much what you were feeding. You knew that internally and intuitively. And
Yeah.
but they don't know what to do with it. They don't know.
Whenever I speak in front of a live audience, whether live on Zoom or live in person, and I share my stories, and I say, how many women here have ever had that feeling inside you? We're meant to be doing something else, something different, something bigger than yourself, and everybody's heads going up and down.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the name of your program, Ready for More, because we're ready for more. We
Yeah.
deserve more. We get to have more now because that's what we've been giving more to others all this time. So
Yes.
love, love, love this. So the three things a woman needs for midlife reinvention. There you have it. It's right there. But it doesn't end there because Deborah, no guest gets out of the Beyond Empty Nest Zoom room without sharing a dare. And you have a really good dare. It's one of my favorites. Sorry, other guests, but this is one of my favorite ones. What's your dare for our audience this week?
Well, of course, it's one of your favorites because it has to do with dreaming, which you love. But what I dare is for you to do a dream download. And what that is, it's simply, and the directions or instructions will be down below, but it's
Yep.
just simply, you know, writing a list of everything that you dream about with no holds barred, right? So, you know, things that you used to dream about, things that you still dream about, things that you dreamt about, were afraid to tell somebody. Or mention
That's a
it.
big one.
Yeah, yeah. Things that, you worried you wanted to dream about, but you were worried that others wouldn't approve, or what would others think, or time, money, restrictions, other expectations. Get rid of all of those and do a list of just everything, just a download, clear your mind, clear your soul of everything that you have dreamed about and that you dream about now.
Yeah.
And, again, release all criticism, no editing, no censoring,
No
just
judgment.
all down. And, that gives you a good kickstart into it, gets your imagination activated, right? And it gives
Yeah.
you a good kickstart into that creativity and understanding and moving forward with being able to dream. You take that dream download and you can use it in steps to move forward from there.
Love it. So you're going to dare to dream by doing a dream download. Check out the full show notes for exactly how to do it, including some questions that you can ask yourself to start triggering. But the real key to this is to not think and to not judge yourself, period. I love that. Deborah, thank you. Thank you for sharing this. Like we said at the beginning, this is a big, big part, a big, big challenge for most women in midlife is who am I now, if not a mom, a wife, a teacher, whatever you may have it. And I love what you do. I love how you do it. For those of you who want to connect with Deborah, everything's below. And here's the thing, everybody. You've heard me say this a million times. The purpose of Beyond Empty Nest, the podcast, is for you to take one thing from each episode. What's one thing that you heard Deborah say today or share today? Maybe it was part of her story. What's one thing that you said or thought, yes, that would help me, or that's me? Take that and run with it. Leave us a review. Let us know. If you leave a review, and you share your one thing, I'll make sure that Deborah gets it. I will forward her that message.
Please.
Our goal is to like support women in midlife everywhere, all around the world. So share this episode with your fellow mom friends. Share this episode like a book club. Share it and sit down and go through the 3 things together and maybe do a dream download together. We can't do the identity step 1 together, but you can certainly do the others.
Right.
So, yeah. So thank you again, Deborah. Thank you for everybody who is listening and supports our show. And as I always say, dare on. Thank you for listening to this episode of Beyond Empty Nest. Head over to jodysilverman.com for our full show notes, more information, and additional resources to support you through empty nest and midlife. And if you've enjoyed today's show and are ready to embrace this midlife chapter, then you must take the Happy for No Reason quiz. When you take the quiz, you'll discover what your happiness set point is and how you can increase it and continue to strengthen it. This is just one key to navigating life transitions and discovering your most fulfilled and daring life. So go ahead, click the link below and take the quiz now. I'll see you next Thursday. Dare on.